How's it going? This is bigSHow, theGod. Did I do something a little different but the same? And so I kind of self-aware that I get a bit complicated and I sort of go in and out of subjects, backwards and forwards. And a lot of times it just sort of pops back to the similar kind of framework. And that's what I mean by starts looking complicated, because I pull in more and more and more different words to analyze and bring into the conversation. So I thought I might as well just title these things complicated versions and see how I go with that. And maybe it will loosen up a bit more kind of fun snippets where we can go down some rabbit holes or go off on a tangent without being too caught up in the overall point that we're trying to get across, or that I'm trying to get across, as the point I'm trying to get across is complicated, hence the title. So I guess when you have a perspective of looking at something abstract or something, you look at something, but you're looking at it from 4 or 5 different perspectives. That's what complicated means. So yeah, let's see where that goes. So what I thought I'd do is I'd throw some notes down, then I just talk about what the notes resonate for me and take it from there. So I've been bouncing around for years now, but anyway, ways I like to frame something to myself. And then I use words like mindset, having a mindset of, and then so I can have a mindset of, and then so for this one I might have a mindset of self-awareness. What does that mean? For me, what a mindset means is I refer to it and reset to it, to that perspective, or to that grounding or refreshing moment regularly. How regularly? Well, I try to start with it, then I try to, as the moment, day, conversation, interaction, self-thinking draws me away, I try to bring myself back. So I look at it like I'm constantly going into the conscious day, but having a thought pattern that brings me back into a mindset. And I use a mindset quote or set of conditions that I try to bring myself back to. How does that sound? So that's what I determine a mindset. A mindset is just probably just a set of parameters which I write for myself and kind of work at bringing myself back to at some point in the future. Because I'm not sure you're not constant, you're in that mindset, but I think it's fair that it would need constant assessment that you are. It's one thing to say, I'm going to have a mindset of self-awareness. Well, you're not self-aware every 2 seconds or every single moment. So my logic would be is that at least you'd have to have some type of time where you're referring back to it to keep you there. It's kind of like developing a habit. Say, if you're going to develop a habit or a routine of I will not do or I am going to do something. I keep going to the obvious ones. I will not eat fried food, or I will not eat biscuits. How's that? Something like that. I will not eat biscuits. It's a mindset change. It's that I'm not going to eat the biscuit. There's actually emotion in that too, to be honest. But so you're not going to have the biscuit. For how long? Timeline, whatever you put in there. Forever. For 10 years, whatever. You set your goals and your thing, whatever you've done. Well, that's now done. You now have a mindset of, I guess you've created a discipline because you're now not going to do something, or you are going to do something. I'm going to go to the gym at a certain time every whatever days, say. Similar, 2 tangent-y things, doing 2 habits going at once. One to do something, one to not do something. Same principles, yet equally difficult, depending on what it is. So here's 2 habits, one you're going to not do and one you're going to start doing. What's a mindset of continuing that path? So you get a discipline, you get a chart, you're going to, here I am, I'm there. What did I eat today? If it doesn't have a biscuit in there, then there's your 2 references, right? One is went to the gym. Yes, there I am. The other one is haven't had a biscuit. So we're constantly, all right. So we carry on. The next time. Then somewhere amongst the timeline, a decision or a choice is going to be made that doesn't fit those 2 examples, right? And what's it going to take? I didn't go to the gym this morning, or I ate some biscuits. I ate a biscuit. Now what? Where are we? Correct. So is that a mindset? Didn't have the mindset? Didn't have the discipline? Which one is it? So mindset of self-awareness is to understand, well, what's going on in this transaction? What's going on in this sort of cycle, the cyclic situation where I've had a biscuit now, and so was my mindset gone? I didn't have a mindset of discipline, or I failed. I've not done it. So there's such an emotional content to it of making the decision, which was opposite the decision you planned to make. So I planned to make these choices, or to not make that choice, yet here we are. I didn't go to the gym this morning, and then I have these reasons generally, or I had the biscuit. What was the reason that I had the biscuit? Correct? So those are two things that can happen. For some they happen, for some they may not. But at some timeline, may or may not. I understand. If I don't eat biscuits, then the biscuits, having a habit of I don't take drugs, okay, when I've never taken them, it's not really a habit, right? So this has to be a habit or a thing that resonates, or that's, clearly something you want to do. And yet we're not. I'm not creating a habit of not jumping off a cliff, because I'm not jumping off the cliff, correct? Yet I don't go jumping off a cliff randomly, right? But I'm willing to have this biscuit, which I've made a conscious plan and put in place a system to not have it, yet that can fall over at some point. Interesting, right? So where I get to with the struggle of this kind of change and habit and creation and all this sort of thing of those types of things, the mind and the emotion has to be the piece. It's reasonably logical that the lack of emotion or drive, or the consequences of jumping off the cliff, and the want to do something is huge. Has to be. The want has to be the piece. And that seems to be, from what I can gather, the ability to have memories and to remember things with the emotional content to it. So common sense would suggest that if we know a mindset of self-awareness is to practice before, during, and after an event, and what did it actually, how did it feel at those times, and what did I do about those feelings at those times? I would suggest we kind of know from the biscuit concept is it would have been a thought that pops in from maybe a hunger feeling that's released, right? So we got feelings of hunger, which pop in all the time. I then attach, I don't know if this is true, but I'm attaching that I need to eat something. What should I eat? Those two things would connect and bring a picture and a thing in my mind of something I've enjoyed eating. Very seldom am I bringing into my mind a raw onion or a raw piece of fish, which would give me the same nutrients. That doesn't pop in. Well, let's say a food group that I'm allergic to. That doesn't pop in. And like, oh, I'll go and have some of that. Because I assume I had a fucking horrible experience with that. Correct? There's plenty of studies out there actually thinking about it. People that don't like food groups generally aren't eating those food groups. Yet you might be trying to have that food. So that's the point, right? We're working hard against a process and a system within ourselves that why would I do something that I don't like? And we've got it's more than just eat it because it will do these 3 things or these 10 things for you later on, down over a long period of time. It'll do this for you, right? Me not having the biscuit will be seen as like, well, fuck, it's not gonna, what's that gonna do? But it's a piece. You can grow that from biscuits, donuts, chocolates. You grow that list. You have a pile of list here. It's a list of wants. It's definitely not needs. We've established that. But the emotional connection to those wants and the thoughts and how those, in my opinion, how those pictures build in my mind into creating this emotional kind of feeling towards, that's the choice I'm going to make, is to have some of that, right? What does it take to change that? And for me, self-awareness is kind of the start and part of the practice. It still ain't enough. Trust me. Being self-aware of this crap ain't enough. I can go and have some right now. But realizing this and educating myself and learning this point, or this, to get to this point of the root of the problem is very satisfying, to the point of establishing reasonable plans and reasonable goals that are kind of more likely and more probable than they have been in the past. So So a mindset of self-awareness of any time I'm a thought process has popped in that goes against what I was trying to do, but it's tugging at making me feel good. Have an ice cream. Oh, that'll be nice. And going, well, why is that thought even there? Self-awareness to go, hold on, why is that thought there? Oh, I see. Yeah. And that can at least start the realization of what's going on, what's actually going on here. All I've done is pull a picture of something that I'm comfortable with, something that I like, something that historically I would enjoy, which from a evolutionary process makes fucking good sense, because that turns into energy, and it's probably still going to keep me alive. So yeah. The other part to that was, and I don't know if I'm right in this, understanding the thoughts from memories, right? I've kind of read up on this a reasonable amount. I'm no expert on consciousness and all that sort of jargon, but I'll go this far. Most thoughts are from memories within some amount of picture pulling there. Think of anything that, even a new thought or a concept, it's generally based on something you've already come up with, or something that you've already had in your life. You know, a 10-year-old child is not reciting stuff generally that they've not had any experience or knowledge of at all. They can pull it from pictures, and once you've had pictures, you've seen things regularly, and once you start applying literature to it, then you're now conditioning yourself to pictures and memories and attaching emotions to those, right, as a bundle. And it just either re-cements it or reconfirms it, but as it's at its moment's notice, all you're doing really right now is pulling in a picture of, even if I think of a workmate that I'm going to go meet, I'm pulling a picture of him into my head right now. And it's only because I've got the regular pictures in my head. which is why face-to-facing and stuff like that is more relative, because you see all the mannerisms and all that, and you're pulling all that crap in at the same time, right? If you've not had those interactions in a way, then you're pulling in you're pulling in a person and putting a bit of a face to it. You know, you just got a profile pic. From that profile pic is your whole visual image, and you're attaching it to that's what I think that person's like. So we're assuming a lot. We're putting in a lot of we're able to take the literature, take what I do know of this person from, let's say, from an email or from a bit of conversation, and then if we add a profile pic to it, all of a sudden that's tripled. That's given a bigger thing versus I've just had a text from a guy. I've never heard of him, met him, sound from him. So that bunch of words, skepticism brings in really fast, and unaware. What do you mean? I can't. Which image am I going to pull in? Where am I pulling in that he's this type of image of this person? This group of words came from. You know what I'm saying? So when we start understanding that, that's a good starting point to understand how I'm manifesting my decisions from now. Pulling in that. How does that make me feel? I don't know enough about them. The last 3 interactions I had with that person, they were angry, so I've attributed anger to this person now from this event or from these things. So that's my line in the sand with this guy. Whereas this person here, I did exactly the same thing, didn't get all that type of response, so my picture with this person's different. So more comfortable with this person, didn't have that. This person, bit more, you know what I'm saying? So realizing that's going on at the same time, that pulling and pushing, that constant pulling memory, attaching feelings to what interactions or previous interactions I had with that person, how they influence my interactions with that person now. Is kind of based on the same stuff. Instead of just having a blank slate, have a blank slate all the time. And having the awareness that I'm doing the same thing to somebody else based on the last 4 interactions they had with me. 10 interactions. And what gets horrible about it is that I'm good enough at pulling in from the last 30 interactions. I pull in the one that was way back here in 2010. This one that's of him, her, a negative event, and I forget about these events. I pull in this negative event. That's my reference, right? And that's the same concept as not having a lemon, eating a lemon right now versus eating a biscuit. Lemons don't pop into my head. I go, ooh, and I have to have a habit to not have lemons. Why is that? They've got the nutrients in there. They'll do the same thing as this apple or a lemon. Because the body's rejecting it and saying it's doing this and doing that for reasonable reasons. From a lemon could be, let's take a lemon out and replace it with a Granny Smith apple. It's a bit more bitter, a bit more thing, and an apple that I prefer. Not having this one, having this one, and then it gets digested even further down, right? So yeah. In that subject, I said I just got an email from someone. Does the same thing. So someone that is quite demanding and what's the word? A picture I've built up is I've had 5, 6, maybe 10 interactions with that person. And of the 10 interactions, 7 or 8 of them have been from what I would call a demanding conversation, urgency kind of interactions. Other than that, nothing. But when they interact with me, it's urgent and fast and wanted now and all this sort of stuff. So that's the picture I've got of that person, correct? Yet they may well be different to that. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're not like that all the time. Or, I don't know. But where am I going to go to? And so now this starts creating this kind of, you're being annoying and it's anxious. And why are we being like this to me all the time? Why are you doing this all the time? Correct? So that's kind of the same type of deal. How do I deal with these all the time? These types of interactions. I'm over here trying to establish a habit of not doing that and doing that. And then I've got people conversing with me and want this now, I need this, what is this, how's that, who's doing that, asking me questions about this, who's not doing that, why aren't they doing that? To have to take that on board and go, and then look at each individual case as is that what I'm reading? Is that what I'm thinking? Is that what I'm hearing? Or is my frame and perspective here, and how do I change my frame and perspective to somewhere else? Right? And that's what a self-awareness mindset can have. So even though I've just received that email, I can just confidently read the words that have been asked, and leave the rest of the pictures that are forming in my mind, and even the emotions that are building or have resonated from this, and have the self-awareness to go, those are just pictures I'm bringing up, which is the same as the biscuit. The thought of having a biscuit builds up nice feelings, and that'll be tasty, and which one should I have, and where are they, and when, and I have it now, and start being mouth-watering. To have the self-awareness to just go, that's all that is. It's just a feeling. It's just some images I'm bringing up. It'll pass. Move on. Go to the next one. Let the chemicals pass through. It's not pain. It's not severe bloating or medically. It's just not. The same thoughts that when I'm lying in bed and I plan to go to the gym soon, the alarm's gone. The feelings that I have of being tired and being stiff and being sore and being something else, they will pass by. Just recenter, have a mindset. What's going on? It's cold. It's got it. It's raining outside. All right. It's just water. It will not fucking kill me. It happens. Rain happens. That's not a reason. And that's what I mean by mindset of self-awareness. Not easy. Not easy to do it all the time. It's not foolproof. But allows that reset. And then somewhere amongst it, you're going to start pulling in images and tools that counter that. From something like, oh man, the treadmill's going to be, how do I feel after I've had that run? How do I feel after I've lifted those weights? How do I feel during it? How satisfied do I feel? And somehow you got to go from here and pull some of that in, or be as simple as saying, I'll be fine. Just get up. Just get dressed. Just get up. I have hacks like I've already dressed for the gym. Because getting dressed can be hard. Oh, I've already dressed last night. I'm dressed for the gym. Whew. Okay. There's one less. It's still not enough. Just lie here. Oh, I'm really tired. Am I tired? Think it through. What was the plan? How was the plan? Until you can subside this tiredness. How good will I feel? I'll feel great afterwards. I'll feel great when I haven't had those biscuits. I'll feel great when a week goes by. You can even have times, oh, John's going to be there. David's going to be there. Oh, John's not going today. Oh, I'm going to enjoy telling John I was there. Yeah, okay. I've got to go because he's not going. I've got to go because he's not going. And then get some momentum and some energy and pull in different pictures into your mind. There I pulled in 5 different pictures from the picture I had. I pulled in 5 different pictures, all tools and processes that I could do my best to pull in. And even through all that, may not be enough. Got a sore leg, got to think, got it, So that's my my methods I use. The but I think I'll finish with because I got a meeting at 10. The building blocks of getting this stuff right. I think it's not for everybody. I'm reasonable in assessing that. And maybe it's not even for everybody at particular times. Always notice, being ignorant is actually quite a survival technique, or quite a comfortable thing to have. Especially even when you're not ignorant, it still ain't enough to create change. You can know things and be taught things and see it and realize it, but you're still doing this one, So then I go, well, what's the building blocks for where I am today? It really is on that piecing together myself. And probably the building block that's the most difficult one was honesty. I think honesty is the biggest practiced building block that I have. And because I struggle with it now. I struggle with honesty every single day. Does not go by where honesty is, I'm just not honest. Even from something that makes no difference, I'm still struggling to be honest about it. In the self-awareness, I keep practicing on that, is to know that it's there, that I'm dishonest to myself, let alone dishonest to other people. And practicing being honest is the toughest thing. It's unfortunately like fitness. It doesn't stop. Your honesty does not stop. It's not, I'm honest. I'm being honest. Doesn't mean you are honest or you are always honest. You're just not. From thoughts in your head, they're dishonest, to saying something to myself and committing to something to myself. At some point that changes. And even during it, or through it, or some piece of it, there's a piece where I'm not honest. I'm just not. Whether it's to somebody else, to myself, just not honest. So what do we do about that? What do I do about honesty? Well, I bring myself all the way back to practicing being honest on myself first, because that's all there is. And if I share my struggles and share my stuff and have the courage and the openness and all those kinds of things, to be as honest as I can at that time, and then look to continue being honest an hour later, 2 hours later, and keep being honest. And unfortunately, honest has so many complicated pieces to it that it will never stop. Will never stop working and practicing being honest. And whether that's from the words I use and in the plans I make, the goals I set, there's degrees of honesty in there that I was dishonest, that I'm a liar, right? And the self-awareness to know that that's part of it. It's part of the process. But the single biggest thing is continuing to be as honest as you can in every facet, in every uncomfortable situation. And what gets ugly and complicated is you being honest doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean you are. Here's where I get really complicated. You saying you're honest doesn't mean you are honest. You demonstrating some pieces of examples or situations or events where you are being honest is just those events and those particular pieces. Still, don't attribute that to you are honest. Absolutes never is very difficult. I get it. But that's the problem with the word honesty and being honest. You're only honest to the point of your ignorance. And then even then, you being honest, you can actually fabricate it all the time. And that word gets used nonstop. And I use it as well, which doesn't add any more. It doesn't add anything to the conversation at the end of the day. It just doesn't. Yeah, I'm judging your actions. If I want to frame it that you're being honest, you saying, look, to be honest, this is the best deal you're going to get. Fuck me. That's you being honest. It doesn't mean it's true. Correct? So the pursuit or the journey of honesty, in breaking that down, for me anyway, was a good start, was a good block, a good building block. So let's write that down. So honesty, I think, is a fucking whole level of crap. And from honesty, you pretty much, so practicing honesty requires you to listen, to get feedback, to share, to open up, to be vulnerable, to be all that shit. Otherwise, your honesty levels are only here. You're telling, look, I'm honestly too tired to get up. I'm just honest. Look, it's true. That's the story in your head, and that's where the story will stay. The ability to be able to take yourself out of that and then start breaking down being honest is unfortunately another skill, right? So that's what I mean by building blocks. So honesty is one. Listening. To actually really listen. What a building block that is. Because listening is not generally possible when you're avoiding. You will say, I heard it and I listened. But when your actions are built on your avoiding, then we can't be listening. We're not listening. And maybe listening, and when you're telling me you're listening, doesn't mean you are listening. And if you tell me I learned something, doesn't mean you learned something. Because I learned something, in my opinion, implies that you're going to utilize what you learned. If you don't utilize what you learned, if you learned something and you utilize some of that learning, I'd expect to see change, correct? Or an adjustment to your behavior or something. That's what, if I've got no money in the bank but I've learned how to get money. I would expect to see some money in the bank at some point in some timeline, correct? Because that's what I've learned. You've implied. Now, if you've still got no money in the bank, but you told me you've learned, but you still got no money, then that's what I mean. And then you tell me I'm listening. Yeah, I've listened to that. No, I'm listening. Doesn't mean, maybe I'm confused, but listening implies change or doing. So maybe the building blocks are your honesty, your listening, your learning. They all kind of mold together in a way. Because it's horrible with learning. This is how complicated we get. You don't know if you are learning, right? That's where the review process comes in. And to review, you have to be honest, So when I talk about building blocks, unfortunately, all those blocks have to kind of be there. You can't just have some of them. You can't just go, oh no, I'm being honest. I'm honestly fucking broke. I'm honest about it. Oh, fuck. That doesn't mean shit. Correct? Being honest and open is cool. Now, so good to get that off my chest. I've got no money. I'm broke. Cool. Now, if from being honest, now ready to educate myself, get some education, learn, education and learn. Maybe education is too big a step. Get some learning. Where am I getting my learning from? From myself. I'm learning that this is fucked. Oh, situation I'm in, whatever. Learn something. Am I going to listen to someone? Because am I going to share? I've shared. Honesty is sharing and practicing sharing with myself, whatever. In that act, am I listening to the feedback? Am I listening to some other opinions? And then learning that this works and applying it? Or am I just only doing those bits? So they all go together, right? Honesty, listening, learning. All within a system that you're already in now. So it ain't fun. So those, to me, there's a couple of building blocks I can put out. Those three alone are reasonable starting points. And with the practicing self-awareness, generally, you need to measure, you need to review. So yeah, let's leave it at that.